Okay, for week 3 of your packet, we're going to be talking about 2D shapes and 3D shapes. So for 2D shapes, we're going to be talking about their attributes. Now, an attribute can be anything from their color to their size to the actual shape that they are. So we're just going to look at 2 of the most important ones, and that is your corner and your side. So anything that comes to a point is going to be a corner. So on a triangle, there are 3 corners. So you have one here, and one here. All right, a side is the connecting point between the corners. So a side will go from one corner to another corner, from this corner, this corner, this corner to this corner. So a triangle is going to have 3 sides. For a rectangle, you have the same thing. You're going to have corners, but for a rectangle, you're going to have 4. And this is going to be the same thing for a square. So you have a corner here, a corner here, and a corner here. Now, for a rectangle, you're going to have 4 sides, but you have to remember that 2 of the sides are shorter and 2 of the sides are longer. So you have 4 sides and 4 corners. Now, one thing that's going to be tricky for your students in your pack is that the packets talk about the square corners. So in each square and rectangle, there's almost like an invisible square that you could be able to place in any corner. Now, a triangle doesn't have that. You can't fit a square up here. That just wouldn't work. So if it asks for a square corner, you're going to look at your squares and your rectangles, and you should be able to put a square. So if it asks for that, you should have 4 in this one. Those are the most important attributes for your 2D shapes. Now, you're going to be introduced to some 3D shapes, and we haven't done this yet. So just for clarification, this is a cube. You have a sphere, a cylinder, a cone, and a rectangular prism. So one of the questions that it asks for 3D shapes is about faces. A face is any way that you can turn it to where it looks like that shape. So this one being a cube is going to have all squares. So this is going to be a face, and then if you turn it, you have another face. If you flip it, you have a face. Now, the one thing that changes is that the corners are not called corners anymore on a 3D shape. They're called points. So you're going to have points, and then your sides are not called sides anymore. They're called edges. So you have edges, you have points, and you have faces. Now, on a sphere, there are none. It's like a ball. You don't have any faces, any corners. You really don't have any sides either, or edges. On a sphere, or not, it's not a sphere. This is a cylinder. On a cylinder, you have 2 faces, but you don't really consider these edges or corners because there aren't any points. On a cone, you have 1 face, it's a circle, and you have 1 point. On a rectangular prism, it's almost like the cube. It's just a rectangle instead of a square. You'll have 2 different faces, so you have a square on the ends, and then you have rectangles on the sides. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangular faces and 2 square faces. And then this one has points and edges as well.